this season where we're all about growing
and glowing
in each season. I'm Zerida. Most of you know me as Epicurious Diaries on Instagram and YouTube.
And I'm Priscilla. Most of you know me as Let Priscilla on Instagram and YouTube.
We have two amazing hosts joining us for today's episode, where we're going to be talking about the societal pressures that make women feel like they need to settle and marry. So we're sitting as a diverse panel of women. Some of us got married really early. This is DK. Most of you know her as Doreen Katsime. Say hi.
Hi, it's nice to be on the show.
And then we have the boss babe, Claire. Most of you know her as the boss babe. Claire, say hi. Okay, so sitting before you is four women who we've all walked this journey. We've walked completely different journeys. Doreen, when did you get married?
At 21.
21. So
Jesus Christ, you were a baby.
Baby, child bride.
Child bride. I thought about it before and I'm like, I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
You are 21. I think about like my little sister, she's 18.
Nice,
so just
like 3 years shy.
And now she's being handed somebody's son to look after. Hey, you're a baby.
And Claire, how old are you when you got married?
The first time I was 23.
And your current
Second,
marriage?
I was 30.
Okay.
30, yeah. I was 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 23, 21, roughly same age group.
Yeah, babies.
Yeah.
Child bride. Child bride.
Both of you, child
At
bride.
23, you have no, in my opinion, you have no business getting married at 23.
I think as an African firstborn, the
yes.
way we've been made to
Yeah.
grow up,
That's true.
I think about it now. I don't think that I thought about it then. I just felt like I was an old person because I mean I was
At
taking care.
21,
I was taking care of my siblings, and I keep adding that when you're first born to an African single parent, you're literally like your other parent's partner in parenting, in everything. You're literally the deputy parent.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in charge of everything at home.
Yeah.
I took care of my siblings.
So you grew up a lot
just
faster than,
Exactly.
yeah.
Even now, even when I hang out with friends, Zeri knows, when I hang out with friends who are not yet married, who don't have children yet, I keep telling them that I feel like I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
Despite
Mommy,
that
they're older.
I immediately assume the mommy role. Of
I
I
feel
feel
like
like
you have such motherly instincts.
everyone is under my care.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
So I never felt like I was young. It's now when
That
I
you
imagine
look back.
I am 32. My son is going to be 10. Like, wow.
He's 10 years away from me. Well, but really, we're the same age, but you're a senior in this
I can't imagine in November I will be 32.
Yeah.
My son Timothy will be 10.
Wow.
Wow, you're a senior at this game. Okay, I just wanted to ask, do you think that you got married at 21, you got married at 23, I got married the first time at 23 as well. Would you say that it was because that societal pressure had something to do with it, or was it a personal goal that you had for yourself?
For me, honestly, I didn't know about societal pressure. I didn't know.
Champion, they were not
What is the pressure? I first in Kampala and learned these things of the clock. I didn't know these things.
Yeah.
All I knew is that I had met a man
That you
who
love.
felt like my father.
Yeah.
You know, I keep saying it, growing up without a father. I don't know how it feels for people growing up without a mother, but for me, growing up without a father, I think I was longing for a shield of a father. And I meet this guy who gets into that position of being my father. You remember the next thing? Me, I am getting married, I am pregnant, I am giving birth.
Yeah.
The rest.
There was no pressure.
For me, there was no pressure at all. I had never learned. Well, I do not have very close relatives. We do not have very close relatives. I think by the setting of a single African parent, you no longer belong to your husband's side. you no longer belong to your own side because you feel like, oh, you failed in the marriage and all that. So you have to start your own world with your kids.
Yeah.
So I feel for me, I do not have the close aunties who say, oh, how did you perform? Oh, you're now 21. So for me,
You
I
had
have
no pressure.
So absolutely. I've seen pressure in my 30s.
Yeah. So you had the freedom to walk into marriage and make it your own.
That's amazing. Such a privilege.
It really is.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was a mixture of both pressure for myself.
Yeah.
Not really society, but you just keep thinking. So I grew up thinking that if you come back from university without a guy to marry you, you're probably going to remain single forever.
Yeah.
So that's the mentality I had. And guess who came back from university?
Without-
Single.
Single as a Pringle. So for me, it was more. I'm the one who had my. And you know how you've grown up church societies. You can't. Life begins once you're married. You can make your own decisions. You can leave home. You can have sex. You get what I mean. You can actually be
anything you want.
You can only start dating boys when you're ready to get married.
So there's that feeling of
There's
now
that
what?
feeling,
Exactly. That in between.
Now,
Like you're waiting.
Exactly. So I was, yes, the pressure was mostly from me, but I kept thinking, I had it in my head that people were actually wondering what is happening, because I was pressuring myself, so I felt like people were judging me, which no one cares, I realized now.
Yeah, no one
cares.
People are dealing with
My
my
mom, my parents
dealing with
never,
the most.
exactly.
Yeah.
My parents have never ever put me on pressure to do anything I didn't want to do. So I didn't feel pressure from the media family. It was internal. It was very much internal. So I just always felt like other people are looking. No man. Where's your boyfriend? Exactly. Where's your boyfriend? And then people would come and they'd get married and stuff. And for me, if growing up, all through growing up, I always envisioned myself as a wife and mother. More than anything else, I envisioned as a wife and mother. It's turned out completely different. But when I was 20, when I was just right before I got married, that's what I wanted. If I was up to me then, I would have like 6 kids running around.
Yeah, you would have started immediately.
Yes.
Okay.
But life doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Let's go to Priscilla. Priscilla, you would be representing the team later marriage.
Yeah.
And I want to know this pressure, that societal pressure. Did you feel that?
I think that I did feel it when I was in my 20s. But the moment I crossed over to my 30s, it's like I released the pressure. So for me, I think when I was engaged, before getting engaged, there was a little bit of pressure. Then I got engaged, and then once I called it off, I feel like I released it. I was like, you know what? I'm already beyond that age. I'm turning 29. People say by 25 you should be married, you should have a... So I'm like, no, but I'm already expired goods. What's that can happen? Let us keep it moving.
You made peace with your reality.
I was like, you know what, if it comes at 40, it comes at 50.
If it never
If it never comes, I'm just going to live my best life. And I
think that's really powerful. There's power in being like, okay, I want this, but it will never happen, but I'm not going to wait.
Exactly.
I'm going to live my life and I'm going to fulfill my own life, because then you do not settle for less than you deserve, and you're not desperate, and you don't let other people make you feel less than just because of a society.
That's very true.
So again, I want to ask you, Priscilla, so at that point, at 22, 23, when the marriage bug hits, you know, like right after you finish university and the marriage bug hits and all your friends are getting married, what were you doing in your 20s? While instead of, because usually what happens when the marriage bug hits is we pick the first available person and we bump into that tree. Because often what happens when you pick the first available person, some people get lucky. Yeah. Right? But for the most part, so at that point, what were you doing and how did you remain, fight that pressure to pick the first available person?
You know, I think I wasn't doing anything conscious. I won't lie. I think it's just that I've always been extremely career driven. And I think the person who was there at that time, who I would have chosen, I knew I was, because he wanted a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home wife. He made it that very, very clear right from the start when we met. So I knew that if I choose to go with this person, he has made very, very clear what his expectations are, and it was a case of we are relocating to another country. You're not going to work, you're going to take care of our kids and support my career, and that's what a good wife does. And that was not really my worldview. So for me, I think it was a case of like, you know what? How bad do I really want this marriage thing? Am I comfortable with never ever seeing the world, with never ever making a mark on the world and just being a good mother and a good wife? And I realized that I wasn't. Like, I would always be arguing world politics with him. He was always getting irritated. I was like, do I really, really, really want to live this life where I have to be a certain way for him? And I was like, it's not, for me, it wasn't comfortable. So I think that's the only thing that helped me not to go with him. But I don't think it was a very conscious decision. I think it was just because of who he was. If it had been someone else, maybe girl would be married with 5 kids.
Yeah. But you know, it's really easy to say to yourself, I will figure it out when I get there. I know a lot of people, I know I did that in my first marriage. I said to myself, we shall see when we get there. Hey, the saying sold very separately. It's a whole other thing altogether. So take a moment to say thank God. Thank God.
Yeah. No, I honestly thank God, because if it had been another man who had pretended and covered up that part of his life, I probably would have gone with him and say, you know what, it sounds so bad, I can figure this out. Maybe I'll convince him, maybe I'll change him. You know, because I already started making plans. Maybe when we go to that country, I'll come apply for a master's, maybe I'll show him how brilliant I am. But because I knew how so clear he was on it, he wasn't going to change his mind. Like, he had made it, you know, his mom is a stay-at-home mom. That's what good women do. He comes from, you know, like he was.
I get that. I know that.
You know, so he wasn't going to change.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, you know what? I don't think I can do this. Yeah. So it's not even anything.
Our baby bride.
Not baby anymore.
Okay, not baby, but
Imagine
okay.
I was.
So when you got married, 21, I'm sure so many of the people around you were still at the prime of their youth.
Yeah.
Right? You're like a teen. You're finishing the residuum of those teenage years. Did you ever feel like you were missing out?
Oh yes, I really did. I went through that phase. Oh my God. And it's something I talk about all the time if I meet, especially stay-home moms, is that I went through that season. I mean, by the time I got married, we're in our second year at campus. And all of a sudden, now you're going to school when you're pregnant, then the next time you have a baby at school. Somehow you feel like the world has moved on. I think I never felt it a lot at campus, because I still felt I was still with my peers.
Yeah.
Would hang out or take care of Timothy. Timothy, I keep saying, Timothy is the child of my youth. I went to school with him, my friends carried him. I felt that phase more after campus. I'm like, I am back home, being a full-time mother, wife. And the next thing is that my friend, I remember vividly, one of my friends landed a big job. I mean, in procurement.
Wow.
From the procurement background. I remember in like 2 months, she had a car. And every mountain she came to visit me, and you know, she gave me 1 million.
Wow.
Like, imagine in those days, 1 million, because for her, because for her, she was staying home with her mother. She had a car, she had a good paying job. There was some available money in her office. She didn't have anything. Remember, she came home to see me, she's like, yeah, use this money, buy for yourself something. I said, okay, wait a minute. I'm an African firstborn. You're educated. I'm educated. I should be in an office working, because I mean, I had the dreams of saying, I need to grow up, take care of my mother. That was the thing, take care of my mother and my siblings. And it just felt like all my dreams were
Sitting in a little box
in
on
a
a
little
shelf somewhere.
corner. So I went through that phase. It's like a self-pity phase of being at home and feeling like your life has
Ended, yeah.
slowed down, and you're like,
Everyone else's life is moving on.
yes, and you have a young baby. You can't just leave the baby. I remember I even went for volunteering for 3 months, and like, I need to get back to the job and work and make money. But I went through that phase, yes, and I feel like it is very important for all of us to go through seasons of life.
Yeah.
Because what I learned then, I know that now. So for me, I keep telling people that I feel like I'm such an advert, that I don't have pressures now. I think it is from that foundation of going through such experiences. Yes, so yes, I had that phase majorly after campus. You guys, it's a weekend and your friends are saying, oh, we went to Chadondo, for example, or there is something happening, or we are traveling to go somewhere. You're not able to travel where you need to leave the baby, you're breastfeeding, then you need to be your husband. So I went through that phase, yes.
Okay. Claire, you've been married the whole, for like a decade.
A decade.
That pressure. So the pressure to like you were missing out.
No, I didn't have kids.
Yeah.
I didn't have kids earlier. So I would just go wherever I wanted to go and I'd do what I wanted to do. I traveled, I did all these things.
So you didn't feel like you had been...
No, I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything in my marriage ever, in any of my marriage. I just do exactly as I please in my marriage,
And do you think that's more based on character or on the fact that maybe you didn't have kids in the past?
It's based off of character.
Yeah.
Because even when I had my daughter now, I mean, if I wanted to go out, I'd pick her up and go out. No, I had already passed that going out and partying. Clubbing, days. So, but if I wanted to go out, I've never been one to be like, oh no, I can't come because of a baby. If I've ever told you that, it's because I didn't want to come. It's really literally because I didn't want to come. But Kinsey is never really, unless maybe she's sick or, but she's good, really good excuse of getting out of stuff, but really not something that will hold me back from having fun or living my life.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Back to you, Priscilla.
Yes.
You're walking this journey to marriage.
Yes.
You're not yet married, but you will be soon. And do you feel like doing so at a later date, at a later age? Because, our age right now is considered advanced. If anything,
Yes. Do you know?
After 20.
A geriatric pregnancy. My friend is 36, she got pregnant, and then after that, do you know your age?
High risk. Like super.
And I'm like, really?
Like you're 80. Exactly. They really do make you feel like you're old.
Come on.
So in the marriage game as well,
we
are walking into the marriage space and finding our age mates, the pioneers.
I know, with children, 10-year-olds.
With almost 11 years under their belt. Do you feel like what advantages do you feel like you've unlocked now doing it, the settling thing and the choosing of the partner now rather than...
I think for me the advantage is, like, I've always had wanderlust. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to travel, to work, and I feel like I've done it. Right now I see people posting Maldives, and there's nothing that I feel like, I need to go. Like, now I'm planning my wedding and everyone's asking, oh, do you want to go to Italy for your honeymoon? And I'm like, we'll go whenever we go. Like, it's no longer a thing of, oh my God,
because usually as Ugandans we first go out of
for
the
on
country.
a honeymoon.
Exactly, So for most people, their husbands took them. So for me, I feel like coming into this marriage at a later stage, with all the experiences I've been able to, privileged actually to experience, I don't feel like I'm missing out anything. I feel like I'm more content, but also being older, I feel like I have done the work, because when I married earlier, I would have been such a headache to my husband, like the expectations, like right now, I'm a much better partner, the older version of myself, than the younger person, because I had all these expectations for him to do this, for him to show me the world, to do what, to get me back, right now there's nothing that I have like that. It's more of a partnership. So I feel like I know I'm more financially independent and more stable, so I also can contribute equally than before, So I feel like I'm a much better holistic person than I was when I was younger.
Yeah, I get that. I say that all the time. I'm definitely a much better quality partner now than I was a while ago. First of all, the things that make you mad. When you were trying, you didn't call me back. You didn't pick up my call. You didn't send me flowers.
It's Valentine's, you didn't send me flowers.
Right now, if it's been a while since we've been on a date, I'll just be like, babe,
Yeah, let's go.
take me dinner.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Let's dress up. And
Before,
go to
you
dinner.
don't love me, you don't even think.
No, I remember telling people on Instagram that follow me that we have a gift list. Me and my partner, and we share. And so this is what we want this year, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's so unromantic," and that would be the old me who would feel like you must read my mind and hear what I say and deduce something from what I
But right
say.
now,
Love
guys,
with me if
we
you
are
don't
trying
know.
to get rich. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we are trying to get rich. We're crying over.
Reading
Come on.
mind reading.
I keep telling people that at what point do we start to think that men are angels?
Exactly.
I mean, for me, if there's anything I have learned, and for me, I have grown up in the marriage. I am so glad that we've grown up
Together.
in the marriage. I have learned. I'm a product of the 10 years. I know, like, definitely, like you said, I know that I'm a better person now than I was
In the
at
beginning,
20.
yeah.
But one of the things that has stood out clearly for me is that at what point do we think that our partners are angels?
And
For
mind
me,
readers.
if there's a thing I learned, I
early.
think maybe like in our third year, is that this man is not going to get into my mind. Because, for example, I remember he used to tell me, there's something that you want me to tell you, but I don't know it. Maybe you need to tell it to me. Then like, I think you should be telling me like this. It's like you're saying you want to go to town, and I'm like, do you have plans of going to town? And he says no, and you snap. He didn't know why you were asking
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
But now I'm saying, do you want to go to town? I'd like to schedule my route with
So you can
so
drop
we can
me?
go together. You
Yeah.
drop me, and you're like, oh my God, I think this guy just doesn't care. Like, I
He's
don't
not getting
know.
that.
He's thinking about how he's going to pay school fees for 3
So
children.
we are at that level about like 5 years ago. Is that we sit at the beginning of the year and you all say what you like.
Exactly. Period.
Yeah. So there's no, even your partner to you, they're not going to read your mind. You're also not going to read their mind. So if you can't communicate exactly what you want,
Then you can't get angry either.
Yeah.
But that can only come with age. For me, at least when
Maturity.
I was maturity. Because
Yeah,
when I was,
100%.
I remember there's a guy I was dating when I was much younger, and then he called me to congratulate me about my engagement, and he said, "This man is so lucky to have you because I have seen your growth.
As a
As a
person.
person, you have evolved from the nagging, from the extremely insecure, the read my mind, the extremely romanticized version of yourself to a very mature, grounded, and and person who wants to advance a relationship and not so much about what can I just get out of this man, but also what can I also put into this relationship. So I think it only comes, as you've said, 5 years into, it became very clear to you and
It's
maturity.
why I keep saying that you have no business getting married. You have no business. Do those things on boyfriend. But on a husband, you know how few marriages last. And I'm not saying maybe they're not going, they might not even get divorced.
Yeah.
But very few
Yeah.
of them turn into friendship the way yours has. Very few of them do. Usually, most of them just decide,
We're now housemates.
yeah.
That is our
And then the other
reality.
one goes, and that's a reality of most marriages.
Tebayomba, tebayomba.
Yes, they don't argue, they don't,
But
they just
yao.
coexist, because they can't get out. Yeah, but then they just decide everyone lives their own life. And that's why, when you're more mature, you're able to understand. And then by the time you get to 30, you don't even remember why you're so mad at this man.
Exactly. You just know you were so
You
mad.
just, yeah.
I know that reality, the reality of people who are in marriages. You meet couples and they are pretty much housemates, right? They're still together.
Yeah.
They'll still pose on hold hands and post pictures, but they can't stand each other. They just completely tapped out and decided to live separate lives. That always frightened me.
It
You know
does.
how I've gone, I don't know how many years saying, I don't even know if I'm going to get married again. I don't know if marriage is a thing for me from seeing all these shells of marriages.
Yeah.
Doesn't look pretty.
It doesn't. It's scary. I'm like, it just makes you think, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? You might as well just carry on your own. Right? It's just really scary.
It
So
is.
it's really important to get in, like,
Mature
mature with the
first.
friendship.
Yeah.
And stop expecting the world from your partner because your partner is
He's
not
as
for
human
you.
as you.
Yeah.
And there's something that I think society has conditioned women to think men are, wow.
The beginning,
They are going to come and save you from every
It's a me, I
single
keep
thing that has
saying it.
ever happened
Mills
in
and
your life.
Bones, Disney World.
Really, like those Cinderella
Yeah.
stories.
But I
all
have a
those
feeling that the patriarchy has something to do.
Because it's men who
I think
owns
they are the ones who have position
who owns this
in
company.
this way. Yes,
Who
I think
are
this
the
is
writers of
story
these
that has
scripts?
been given. Because for the longest time, men were the permission givers.
Yeah.
You allow you right from the days when the man would allow you to eat chicken or not.
Of course.
He allows you to everything.
He even
was
gives
the
you the kiss
permission
of life to
giver.
wake you up.
Right.
Sleeping Beauty comes back to life because of the kiss of a man.
Exactly.
Imagine
So
how
it's been
powerful.
systematic.
Yeah.
It has systematically been put
Yeah.
into our minds.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so
That's
now I
very
want to
true.
ask, someone sent me a DM a few days ago. I think I shared a reel that Doreen had done, and someone sent me a message and said, Doreen makes us all want to be barefoot and pregnant in our kitchen.
Amazing.
Cooking for our and it's true because even so many of us have felt that like we're looking forward to doing all those things, but we also know that the reality is a bit different. The reality of like time, we don't all have the same amount of energy.
Definitely.
We don't have the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The same amount of pressures, the same, I know that you like to cook and prepare things. That's how you relax, right? It brings you joy, it rejuvenates you, energizes you, all of that. And for other people, it drains them.
Yeah.
You've come a long day at work, and you really can't be bothered to, So what we wanted to ask is, because I know that the media has sort of constructed marriage or family making to look like you just have to be a servant. As a woman, you just need to be a servant. Forget your hobbies, forget your whatever. How do you balance that, Doreen? Because for us as Ugandan women, you're pretty much our model, our very own Mother Stewart. On the weekend when we're not able to lay out brunch spreads because we are exhausted from a week of trying to make money, we're like, hey, can I be like Doreen? Please tell us, is that the only thing you do with your life? Like,
Well, I want to say that again, marriages, unions, whatever people call them, are tailor-made. I have seen people thrive in their marriages, doing different things that you look at and you say, I want to confess on this show that I can't iron a shirt.
Yeah.
Me, the one who can cook
Cooks
from morning to evening. The first time I ironed, the first time I ironed, then the boyfriend who turned to my husband, the first time I ironed his shirt, he was unwell and I'd gone to see him at his apartment. I said, can you iron for me? I want to say it clear that I cried.
you didn't know what to do.
First of all, I wanted, of course, to impress the man.
Of course.
What are you going to be wife? Yes. The me had never ironed a shirt all my life because at exactly 6 years, 91, 97, at exactly 6 years, our parents separated, divorced. And so at 6 years, I'd not been able to iron a shirt. So
you never lived with
I grew up ironing my mother's clothes.
Yeah, women's clothes.
You guys, it was the first time I was ironing a shirt. And up to today, I can't iron. I am really so grateful for my partner. That for me, in the morning, he'll say, okay, what are you going to wear? And he irons for me instead.
That's so sweet.
So when I thrive in the kitchen, because for me, I keep telling people that everyone has a social life. Like the way you love to sit and maybe talk about people growing their business. It's something that you love. I don't think I can. I don't have any constructive advice.
That's not your portion.
Yes, not my portion. You love to go out in the farm, in the garden. I probably wouldn't do that. For me, I consider the kitchen as my safe space.
Yeah.
I would gladly cook even without the marriage. I love to cook for communities. One of the things I would like to do is to do like an outreach and cook for so many people out there. So for me, the kitchen is like a place of healing. It's a place where I go to lay down my burdens. So while it has served my family well, I don't think that every woman should be conditioned to that. The only thing that I advise is that as the woman, as the mother of the home, create a system. And that's why I keep emphasizing that do not feel judged or do not feel small asking for help. No. The only thing is that don't let your home be lacking. I mean, you have children in the home, especially for your children to be the ones to be excitable with food at parties.
They're fighting.
And they're fighting. There's no food at home. And not because you can't cook it, but create a system. Let me tell you, I don't iron. There's so many things I can't do. There's so many things I can't do. If people know me because of my strength in the kitchen, that's it. I mean, if you're very close to me, you know I would not be good at putting those cushions together. They're none of my business. It's not that I'll let my cushions be out of place. I respect people who are better than me in that area.
Exactly.
So I need to ask Priscilla, you're good at interior, can you please sort out my living room? Then since I'm great in the kitchen, I'll do that. So I feel that as women, we need to stop pressurizing ourselves that because it's Sunday and you're sleeping and waking up at 11. And I've mentioned this before. My sister and I are totally different. She doesn't like cooking at all. And I tell her it is okay. If you can just get a basic thing to get you out of hunger. Okay, also don't die in the house alone. Just do some quick
If you can put things together, tomatoes, onions,
create a system. I have a very good friend of mine that I like. She's typical like you. She's a career woman who has gotten her PhD even when she has kids. She's a typical boss babe, and I admire her. I admire her strength in that she was able to leave young kids and go to advance on her studies. She has created systems in her home. Like laundry is none of her business. Housekeeping is none of her business. Cooking is none of her business.
But it happens there.
But it happens and
home
it
is
runs.
clean. Her clothes are clean.
A homemaker does not mean that
You
you're
do
like
it.
DK who cooks from morning to evening. No, I shouldn't be even a measure of a wife and say, as a wife, if you can't cook like DK, it's good to pick inspiration.
If you don't have a collection of
But don't judge yourself.
Yes, so don't feel small.
Yes.
Create a system that will serve your home. A home is not measured by who cooked the food.
Exactly.
As long as there's food.
As long as you've created a natural.
I think we can snap for that.
Yes. I can't snap at
wherever you are. You've had that.
No, that's true. I think you raised very
it's also
good
really
points.
important to realize, like, sometimes we have conversations with our partners before we marry them.
Yes,
We should actually.
We should. But sometimes they tell us what they want and we don't listen. You get. If you are a career person, what business do you have marrying?
A man who has told
you for him, his mother has been at home, his grandmother before that, and you get, what are you doing? You're not going to change his mind. You get, you're not going to convince him otherwise.
No, you actually already have your first conflict.
No, but you know why? You know why we go ahead? Because we think we can change men.
That's the thing.
We lie to ourselves. We can change people.
Sometimes we'll go and take a woman whose nails are their most important thing. She's and then
like,
oh, you're jumping to
a
man said that to me once.
Fulfill matoke, all those things.
Yeah.
So he'll take a woman who has no interest.
Exactly, in being a homemaker.
Has never even built matoke.
Homemaker, but not interested in cooking, peeling, no interest. And then start to tell you, but I find it really sexy when my woman peels the matoke herself.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's a human thing. We keep trying to think we can play God with adults.
I think basically what we take away from Claire's subject is when people show you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
Period.
Also, you are not special. He is not special. Your relationship is not special. You do know what I mean? Like we all kind of when you're young, you're like.
As we are different,
special. You treat everything like this, but for me it's different. Kindly, guys.
I'm telling people that when you have conversations, even with people, listen carefully. I've already said that maybe I'm so sensitive because I open my ears so deeply that I'll pick out things in a conversation
Exactly.
That might not even being said.
Yes, because you're in a conversation with someone and they say, for me, honestly, if you can't work, I don't know how we are going to be at the same level.
Exactly.
And all your dreams are to be on a farmhouse with 5 children, darling.
Cheers and drinking wine.
Yeah, and arranging flowers.
Yeah, I remember when I was dating my husband then, he would have conversations of, because I was insecure. I mean, as a young girl at the university, I had nothing to my name, and here I was dating a guy who had advanced in career. I mean, who was out of campus and got a good job and was making a lot of money by then. And I was like, so for all the corporate women around him, he doesn't see them. And I remember we'd have conversations of, it doesn't matter who makes the money. I remember he used to say that a lot. He's like, it doesn't matter who makes the money. Everyone has a contribution that cannot be measured. And said so, because I remember even when I struggled with that season of self-pity, he used to sit me down and say, while I got to make the money that you think is the big thing, I would not make this money if you had not taking care of this child. And said, do you know if we sit? And I remember he used to ask me, do you know what it means for you to sacrifice your whole degree at that point to stay home? He said, if we were to quantify it, do you know how much money is that? So he used to tell me, do not look at money in terms of cash
how much you have.
Yeah. So if you're having a discussion with someone who tells you, oh my God, what makes you think that this man will appreciate you
when you're working? Everything you need to know is right there in that sentence.
But I think we get lost into
the romanticism.
And I keep telling people, at the end of the day, the curtains will close.
The curtains close.
And it will just be the two of you.
The wedding, they remove the decor. Your 50 million decor goes down. You're gone. You waited for Maria's bridal has been taken back. Now you're doing life.
And life is hard.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm not saying hard, but you have to make sacrifices. And sacrifices are not easy to make. It doesn't matter how good a relationship you have with your partner.
Definitely.
Sacrifices are going to have to come.
Yeah, that's why it's sacrifice.
Exactly. It's called sacrifice for a reason.
For a reason.
Something's got to give always.
Yeah.
You literally have to imagine yourself on a stake. You get sacrificing your dreams for his dreams for yours. So now you get married. The guy told you for him he wants a woman that cooks and stays home. So now you get married and he tells you, what do you do? Then suddenly he's not paying attention to you. He's angry. You're not cooking. You know, he told you that a maid does not iron his shirts, but you don't know how to iron. But you need the same. What you do? So pay attention, friends. Pay attention when you're dating, when you're getting to know someone, when you're trying to build a future with someone. Pay attention to what they are telling you. Do not think you can change anyone. You are not God. You cannot change anyone. What you see is probably what you're going to get.
And you know what they say, that marriage brings
it amplifies.
Whatever it is that you see,
whatever is being said,
clearer, bigger, and worse after you get married.
And also, I think we need to, from the advocate of this side, I think we need to say that it is not bad to get married. I've been in company, people say, oh my God, I can't get married young. I can't. I know where's it. I know. I tell my sister, she's in her 20s, and I tell her, live that life. Live through this season, you will transition to another season. I love it for you. I love to see you in your 20s doing that, because I didn't do it in my 20s. I was having babies. But for me, I think again, marriage is about choice. So choice does not come with age. So you might get married at 20. If you think you're already at 40, be married then. So I want us to be in a position to appreciate that all time is right time. I've had people who say, oh my God, it didn't work because I was young. We've had people where it has not worked because they were older. And we've also had people where it has worked when they were young. So I think the best time is when you are ready to make a choice.
Also put in the work.
Make a choice every single day. For me, I tell people that marriage is a choice. Like when you wake up in the morning, after praying whatever you do.
Mr. So and so, I've chosen you.
Yes.
Let us go. I am choosing you today. I shall iron that shirt.
Every single day, you have 1,000 reasons
not
to be. So every
Yeah.
single day is to wake up and say, you know what? We are
I've
still
chosen
doing
doing
this. We're still doing
I
this.
will, but I also want to say that if you've chosen and if you feel it's the right time, you need to be ready for what happens on the other end of marriage. Do you get it's because often we don't stop at the wedding, we don't think much further.
There's life
So you need
after
to be
the
ready
wedding.
for whatever happens, whether you choose to be single, there's, it's a rock and a hard place. You choose to be single for the rest of your life, there's going to be consequences.
Each side has its challenges.
Yes, each side has its challenges. So whatever you choose, you just choose your heart.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Another thing that just to add on to DK's point about marrying early versus marrying late, like she said, there's no better side. I disagree. I would say for me, like from my personal experience, I feel like now that I'm older, on this side of 30, I feel like you're a lot less bendable.
Yeah.
We become so rigid and so stuck in our ways. It can be a bit harder for people to compromise. I think that's something that happens. A lot of people can experience. Of course, you can navigate it, whatever. But from that perspective, I feel like maybe for younger people, it's a bit easier. You're a lot more bendable. It's easier to blend.
You're teachable.
Yes, you're teachable.
I think
Your
it
ego
depends.
is not. Because the more things that you achieve sometimes, for a lot of people,
The stronger you
the
are, who you
more
are self.
how can I service for a lot of people
Get harder, for a lot.
older. You've gathered all these medals and all these accolades,
And then you have
now
to
you're
pay
being
towards that.
expected to humble yourself. It can be challenging.
Surprisingly, I feel like for me it's been the reverse.
For me also,
It's been like when
I think it's based off of who.
I think it depends on who you're doing it for, but also what your experiences have been.
Because I feel like, and I've seen both of you talk
Yeah.
about your relationships, because you met a really good man.
Exactly.
But I'm pretty sure before you met this guy,
Yes.
you met people who you were like,
Exactly. You're right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like when you're older, you're able
Yes,
to make
decide.
that
Yeah.
distinction.
Yeah.
Which you're not when you're younger.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why African society, just generally men like women younger. Because they're moldable.
They're more,
They're more
they're
moldable.
easier.
Yes, this one I can train. I bought a phone of a man, and for some reason, because as we were downloading my computer, my phone changing, I know time is finished, but let me first finish this. So this man told me he married his wife. He married his wife, and he's like, the first year I was very tough. I was training. Now she's molded. I was appalled. This poor child. He was about my age.
He was
And
telling
the child and the girl was. For me, what I heard is like he married his child.
Yeah.
That is what this entire time is like. No. We don't come.
Friends, your partner is not a puppy. Your partner, men, I'm talking to you. Your partner is not a puppy for you to train. So you say something and you don't like it at the get-go.
Leave it.
Fine.
When she came here, you guys are appalled. I didn't say anything because it's none of my business. He's a man. I don't know. I'm never going to see him again. I wanted so badly to school him. But it's not my business. It's not my place to tell people like this. But that's what I think society is. When you're younger, you're more moldable, and it's easier for a lot of. There's a lot of rubbish out there. There's a lot of men just often want to get away with a lot of rubbish, and they can't. They can't when you're 30 and you know what you want and you are strong in your.
So it makes them a bit self-conscious.
Exactly. But when they're younger, you just give her.
By the time you pull up, you realize
I also want you to also go back to the thing of who are you? Because if there's anything I've never doubted in my life, it's who you are. Is my beauty, for example.
Thank you, Mama
We
Rhoda.
grew up, our mother affirming us that we are beautiful, and there's so confidence with my mother. Haven't you seen kids who are teens and they're confident and they'll come and speak to you?
Yeah.
They're 20s. You've been in your 20s and you're still confident and you're not bendable. We've also seen 40s that
Who are very
being scammed.
insecure.
Yes, that's true.
You never move your butt. So it is very important that as we meet as women, as we grow together, to pour into each other,
That's
to
true.
grow our confidence, to know who we are, to have firm principles. It doesn't matter if you're 20, if you're 30, to be
You can
firm
do it,
in
yeah.
who you are and who are you when all things that give you ego fall off,
Exactly.
the accolades, the work,
That's very
status
true.
and all that. Who are you?
Yeah, you must be grounded, but I think that comes from a place of being intentional.
Yeah.
It cannot come by accident, and I think for most of us when we are in our early 20s, we're just vibing.
Yeah,
You know, so I think
moving
if
along.
you're like a young person in your 20s and you have the privilege of listening to this episode, what we are trying to say is be intentional about life.
Yeah.
Don't just go through life with vibes.
About your goals, your personal
Yeah.
growth, your journey.
Yeah.
So as we close this episode, I'd like to ask each of you to share with me what advice you would give to someone who is struggling with the pressure to marry early or to marry by a certain age. You know how that mythical biological
marriage clock.
So out there's a woman or a girl who's watching this and they're feeling like they are failing at life because they have not married by a certain age.
And there's so many.
What would your advice to them be? Yeah?
Marriage is not a medal. You don't get a medal. You really don't get. It's a stage in life that maybe you're not. Maybe most people go through, but maybe don't. Also, please, kindly, the statistics are not lying to you. More than half of marriages end. And there's a reason. So don't be in a hurry to go into it. Don't be in a hurry to go into it. Learn who you are first. Before you give that half of your life away. Literally, that's what you do. You sign half your life away and swear it to someone else. You need to make sure that the person you're swearing it to is someone that is going to take good care of it, which is hard to discern when you're younger, especially on pressure. It's hard to discern under pressure whether this person that you're signing your life to is is the one you should be signing.
Okay, Doreen?
I don't know if we're ready for this discussion or maybe I keep saying that the marriage and growth conversation is something very passionate to me. Maybe it's something I'll ever talk about later. But I don't know if we're even talking about pressure for marriage or pressure for weddings. That's another
Wedding.
because we will talk about it maybe another time. Claire said that when you commit, you're committing part of your life. I actually want to make it clear that when you make vows before the altar, you're committing to life and death. That's why you say that you're going to be separated. I do not know if people take time to also internalize the vows. Is that you're saying that it's only death that will separate you. So, are you ready to walk that journey? My advice to a young girl, old, that is struggling to make a decision is that it's only you. It's only you. Don't look at your mother, me, your sister. And I tell this to my sister all the time. Don't look at me, don't look at your mother. You're not getting married for us.
Exactly.
When you're in that bed crying,
You are alone!
it's only you. So I would want us to empower girls who are younger than us, maybe who are even older than us, that it is only you
Exactly.
alone.
Yeah.
There we go, ladies. You've had it from your favorite married women, your internet aunties. When you are in whatever you're going to find after the wedding day, first of all, there's life after the wedding. That's one. Life does not stop in that white dress. There's life after the white dress. There's life after honeymoon. Real life, by the way. And whatever it is that you're going to face over there, the great stuff, the bad stuff, whatever it is, it's just between you and your partner.
Yeah.
Your Instagram followers will not be there.
As you shall be saying, oh wow, bagels, and that will be it.
Yeah, your aunties and uncles will not be there. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we say, it doesn't matter what society says, it is a you thing.
Exactly.
It's a you decision, and so look at it that way. Don't
Yeah.
be the lulu.
It's
not the
I think for me, I remember when I was going through marriage counseling before I called off my engagement, the question that really helped me and put me on a journey to call it off was, what if he does not change? Are you ready to live the rest of your life like this? With it. And I think that most of us know and see the red flags and we ignore them because we're in a rush. We want the white wedding, we want we want the speak resort munyonyo chigo wedding and all these things. But I think that just be honest with yourself. Sit down and say, do I really want the marriage or do I want the wedding? And decide. Because this thing that you're seeing will not change, and then you go in and you become a statistic. So there is, take your time, make an assessment, and do not drive in a rush.
Yeah. Forever is a very, very long time to be with.
And you can easily say, I'll divorce. But truth be told, in this community, divorce is still harder to work out than to enter.
Yeah. Divorce is difficult.
Yeah.
I've
It's extremely difficult. So.
All right, friends, this is all. We could go on and on
I know.
and on, as you can see, but we have to cut it here. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
If you'd like us to have DK and Claire back on the show, please let us know, and let us know what you'd like
for us.
Come every day and ask for them. We shall remember.
Yes.
So that's all from us for today.
Yeah.
And see you next week.
Subscribe,
share, follow, and the bell.
Yes, it was lovely. Ciao.
Bye.